What's up, everybody? Spare with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on Space Engineers, bringing you another update video. I don't know how long this video is actually going to be because there's not a whole lot to actually show off. The last few have been that way, haven't they? That there's been more tweaks and things made to it, but not a whole lot to demo. So basically, the big one this update is the Spherical gravity generator, which is... there you are. So this is a new block. Apparently it's only for large ships and space stations at the moment, which keeps with the regular grav. I was thinking of mods. There's a mod that adds gravity generators for large ships. So as you can see, we've got a straight down gravity generator right here, but I honestly have not messed with them that much. You can change the height and width. I said that backwards. Width and height and depth and the acceleration. Whoop. But it still points downward from where you are, basically, like wherever this is located. Blech. Whenever you place the block, whatever way it's sitting on, it's going to be the way it pushes you down. Or up. If you change it to a -G, it'll send you upward. But it can't send you like left and right. The field just changes where you're affected by it, but the direction is still the same. The Spherical one, which is the new one, let's put it over here. Is there a spot that's outside of this gravity? No. We can change that though, but I'm not too worried about it. So if we place it here, you'll notice there's two gravity, and if you turn this off, now we can stand on the wall, because this one is pulling us in towards it. So this is kind of awesome now that I'm looking at it. I wasn't really thinking about how this would work, but like the that is awesome. I love that. Hold on. Let's get rid of this one over here and see what happens. See if that's all the Spherical one or not. Okay, so in theory... Whoa. Okay. Okay, so some of that... Can we jump? Can we make it? That is pretty interesting, though. That if you had the right gravity pattern with a regular one and one of these sphere ones, you could actually make like some kind of looping walkway. That would be kind of neat. This is weird. I'm not a big physics person. Like, I like physics in game, but I don't understand the math behind everything. So that's pretty awesome, though, that you can just walk around on the grav generator. I have a feeling that that's going to make some very interesting builds for the Inspiration series. So one other thing is these also... Oh, that's weird. You can't, like, stand right next to it like the other one. This also has a radius and an acceleration that you can use it to repel. Now, this is something I find interesting, is you could actually invert the gravity and make it like a repellent, so that objects that are affected by gravity would be thrown outward away from the generator, which I don't know. Like, again, I don't know enough about how this stuff works to really be able to theorize, but I kept thinking when they first announced that, what would it... Could you use it as some kind of countermeasure? Like, I don't know, I don't think missiles and stuff would work. Well, there's one way to find out. Does this have missiles? This has missiles. Give me missiles. Let's see if we fire it close enough to the gravity. And no, I'm not going to shoot it right there. Let's see if it curves. See, they don't curve. I was wondering if they would or not. So I guess these missiles are not considered entities that are affected by gravity by the game, which makes sense. I mean, you'd have to have a very strong force to negate the energy coming out of the rocket launcher. So, oop, that's just so weird. So I guess you couldn't use it for like missile defense, but it'd be interesting for like collecting, like for drilling, because instead of pulling it in one direction, you could have it just all accumulate onto the generator in essence, or have it like around a collector point, like one of these collectors, hoppers, as I like to call them. Because before, when people built miners and stuff, or drilling rigs, they had to make like a gravity generator that pulled this way and then have a plate to catch everything, and then as you drilled it would suck everything up. This way, if you did the gravity right, I suppose it would pull it all in towards you, which would be rather interesting. So there's a lot of intrigue to this for me. Like, not personally, I probably won't be able to do much with it, but I'm really interested to see what other people come up with, like how they'll use the gravity force and stuff. I think that'll be really cool. Now, let's throw this other one back here a second, because the next part, okay, it doesn't list it in here, is if you hit F11, I honestly think I forgot to mention this in one of my previous update videos, because I'm pretty sure this was here, but I don't ever recall pulling it up, so if I didn't, that's my bad. But it's the debug screen, or one of the debug menus where it lists errors, and you know, you can reload stuff if things get hung up, all that kind of crap. And if you enable the debug draw and turn on physics primitives, it shows you the physics objects for the different entities. For example, this looks like ray tracing for where the light is. Yep. So that's ray tracing for the light to see if it's hitting the solar panels or not, all that good stuff. And this box, is this the gravity? This must be the gravity from this one engine. Holy crap, hold on. That can't be right. What are you? Huh, it's a phantom. Okay, so that's something else entirely altogether different. Alright, let's turn this down a bit and see what happens. Okay, one of these boxes is definitely this thing. Let's turn it down to like 10 meters. Oh, and another thing, I don't know if I mentioned it before. I'm pretty sure I did. I don't know, actually, to be honest. But if you control-click on some of these now, you're able to set exact values, like we had talked about before, how I've wanted that for so long. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that kind of stuff. Okay, so there's the box. You can see the box. So that represents the field in which that gravity generators affect things. There's also another way to do that, or there used to be. I don't know if it's still in effect now that they've added this screen. It used to be like Control-Alt-P or something random, and it would pull up stuff, but it always screwed everything up for me. I think this is the same thing, they just changed how you access it. So this dome is the other gravity, and this must be the ships, because the red one has, yeah, it has its own gravity on it. So this square is the ships, and then this circle should be this spherical one. And so you could use this to tell exactly where your gravity is going to be affected, or where you'll be affected by gravity. So let's turn the radius back a bit. And there you go. So no gravity. Gravity. So that would help builders and stuff figure out if they wanted to make tunnels or pathways or something, gravity elevators, anything that relied on gravity. That would make it a lot more simplistic to do. And then we'll just turn Oh, wait a minute. Oh, so if you're just looking for the thing, you don't need the enable. I thought you needed the enable draw on there. I guess not. So that's cool. Especially useful for builders and stuff when they're wanting to get the gravity effects perfectly accurate the way they want it. The next relatively large thing is the prefab and respawn ship modding. So for some people, I've noticed in the mod section on the workshop, there's been people that have added respawn ships or cargo ships to add to the roster for random ships that show up. You can change how they look and everything. They made it simple to do now. All you have to do is copy, like you would normally do, and then it's in your clipboard. Well, then when you go into F11, you can hit export clipboard to file, save ships from file to clipboard, and then when you do that, it makes a .sbc file, I believe is what they said, which can be used in modding and all that good stuff to... I mean, you could do all kinds of stuff with it. They used the example of changing respawn ships or adding to the cargo ship list that randomly generates, etc. But essentially, I suppose you could use it for whatever you wanted if you wanted to if you needed a specific ship design separately. So that's cool. Apparently they've added more respawn ships. I did not see in their update video or changelog any examples of these, so I don't entirely know what that means unless they're talking about the mods. But if they've added more, I don't know. I don't know what they are. They have added the prefab and respawn ship modding. That's what it does. It saves it as a prefab when you export the file like that, and that's listed down here, exporting through the F11 screen. And then on 64-bit versions, which I am currently running, they have changed the default textures for both the heavy and default armor plates, which I like. It looks a lot sleeker, and I don't know, it just looks better to me. I don't know if it's just a sharper resolution or if they've changed some of the edge work to be not as crazy or so. I don't know. But let's test out a few blocks here of the heavy, since we don't have any heavy laying around. So that's some of the new heavy texture. And you can see on these as well. Oops. I can never get these blocks right. I hate these inverted corners. So you can see that they've changed some of the stuff, which I like though. I think it looks cooler, in my personal opinion. This is kind of what I meant before though. Beyond that... Oh, there is one other thing before we end, and this is the level of detail test mod cube that was done by the actual devs, by Keen Software. What this does is, as an example of mods can now have level of detail, and for those of you that play Minecraft, it's similar to render distance, only instead of not rendering things at all, it's the level of detail at a certain distance. So for example, you can see all the little grate edges. I don't know what these are, ports or whatever they're supposed to be. But if you go further out, I don't know if it'll show up in this screen or not. There we go. So you can see that from this distance, there's no ports or anything. And there's a third mark. Whoop! Lost gravity. I think it's right here that gives it another set of detail, and then when you get really close, then the other detail comes into play. So you've got 3 levels in this particular block. I don't know how many you could actually do. I'm not a mod maker. And you can see even from there the distance the camera is from here to first person. It changes the detail level from that distance. So this particular one has 3. It's got the high detail, the medium, and then you don't have any. And it's supposed to improve performance on systems and things for stuff so that it's not running or it's not calculating all of the detail on the textures and everything when you're really far away. And I believe the actual game of Space Engineers already has that in there. If you watch the asteroids I know do it eventually. As you can see, the kind of ripple that runs over it as more detail shows up, so the further out you get, the less... I don't know if it does... There it goes. So you can see that from here it's very bland, and then as you fly forward, you get that little ripple effect where more detail is added in, and then it'll do it again as you get even closer. So basically, they've now added the same tool set to where you can do that now with mods, not just their vanilla, regular stuff for in the game. So that'll be nice as far as for mod developers being able to make things more performance-friendly for people that don't have really advanced rigs or anything like that, because even mine sometimes, it runs everything really nice and smooth, but when you get a lot going on or a lot of blocks, we've seen in the Inspiration series, really big, intricate ships can be very, very frame intensive. Some of that is just because of the frames, some of that's just because of the complexity of the ships, that there's just so many blocks going on that there's just no way it's not gonna run out of RAM at some point when you don't have any more to use. And some of it has to do with if there is any mods or anything like that on the ships that they're running full detail. So this might help. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that it'll help improve some of the performances that mods have had in the past, with high detailed mods and things like that, that it'll help them run better. But so yeah, I don't think there's really anything else to go over for this update, but a lot of interesting additives that I'm curious to see how the community will use and turn into really cool stuff. So in the meantime, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace!